What are we talking about today? Oh, self-awareness.
Wow.
Okay.
That was the perfect encapsulation of self-awareness right there. Hi, I'm Jordan.
And I'm Sarah, and we're both successful serial entrepreneurs who believe the world is way better with more. More women-owned businesses, more wealth, more magic, and more champagne. But before we can add more, we need to return old business ideas that are taking up too much space in our lives.
Enter the Refund, our content series for folks who are looking to return old storylines, concepts, and habits that no longer serve their life and business. Each episode, we're going to cover one topic, share 3 key takeaways, and we're going to receive a refund on what is no longer fitting the bill. # no receipts required.
Listen and watch The Refund on YouTube and wherever you love to listen to podcasts.
We're going to return the idea that you have to do it all as a business owner.
Yeah.
You have to do everything all the time.
I want a refund on that.
And we're going to get a return on that. So how we believe the first step to not doing everything is self-awareness. As you just had some...
I just had a moment of self-awareness, much needed moment of self-awareness, paying attention to what I'm doing.
Yeah. And I feel like there are people who are born self-aware, but I think self-awareness is a skill and a muscle you can grow.
I love that. It's a muscle that you can grow.
I think it's a muscle you can work on.
And I think it's something that you continue practicing because you're going to grow, you're going to evolve, you're going to change over time.
Yes.
That's normal evolution. We love that, right? And so staying in tune to really who you are is really important.
Absolutely.
And that will never not serve you really, really well as a business owner. Knowing who you are, what you're great at, what you're not great at, and just embracing both is going to help you in so many areas, but specifically for business, it's going to help you decide how to delegate, what to take on your own, and what to give to somebody else.
Absolutely. And I feel like there's so many resources and tools that exist, and I love a good assessment. As a millennial, it's like, tell me who I am, and then give me a little character at the end of my quiz. So we're going to talk about a couple different assessments that if you're an individual business owner, if you have a team, like I highly recommend like dedicating a morning where you take these different assessments.
Love this.
And then you guys can share back because you'd be surprised how different everybody is, their working styles, what they like, what they don't like. And that self-awareness is going to help you work better and do better work, which is the goal,
100%.
Right? Doing your job well.
Doing your job well. What? Ding, ding, ding.
A concept.
Yeah.
Okay, so what assessment do we want to talk about first? Strength Finders?
Let's do Strength Finders.
Okay, that's a classic.
That's a classic. That was kind of my dip the toe in the assessment water. That's what really got me hooked. I did that at my corporate job. We did it as a team. We talked about it as a team. When I had a team, we ran through some activities around that. And Strengths Finders is a classic. It's quite a long quiz.
It's a longer quiz. It comes with a book. You purchase it. Like they've been
thorough.
around for a long time for a reason, I think, because it's good.
It's very well researched. So I think that's the other thing. You can find some assessments are better and stronger than others. And in my opinion, if you're taking an assessment that's going to help you self-actualize, let's go ahead and make sure it's a really reputable assessment. So basically, the whole point of Strengths Finders / Strength Finder is like soaring with your strengths. Let's find your top 5, the top 5 things that you're the damn best at. How do you hone, leverage, work on that? Instead of oftentimes we talk about like our opportunities, get better at your opportunities. Like, listen, I'm just not going to be good at some things. Why the hell would I spend time trying to get better at those things instead of just leveraging what I'm naturally really, really great at to the best of my ability? So Strengths Finders really just believes in grounding in that.
Yep, and there's different categories of when you get your top 5. And again, like when you get it, you can go as, skim the surface or go super in deep about it. But it's true.
It's like $25.
Yeah, it's not expensive. It's totally worth it. You get this book, and I recommend like taking it every like 4 or 5 years because you change.
I think they say that it lasts a little longer. Like it's because it's so well researched. It's a little more.
You can take it
grounded.
Not as often as other assessments. And your point is so true. Where it's like know what you're good at, what you're not good at. Either delegate it, or if it's something you're actively you want to learn that skill, you know where to start.
Yeah.
Instead of feeling like you have to be everything all the time when you're not going to be the same business leader as somebody else, and that's okay. Like we're all allowed to show up differently.
Exactly.
We're not going to go through all of our strengths. I think we do our top 3.
Okay. Yeah.
So I want you to tell me what your top 3 are.
Empathy, which is like empathy, communication or communicates. Communicates, and woo, which I love on many reasons because I love that woo mama juju. That's what Jordan always says. I love voodoo mama juju, but. Woo is win others over. And that to me is one that I think has served me. We touched on this on another episode of just this innate ability I seemingly have had my whole life that I didn't really understand or know when I was younger. And as I became more self-aware, I've learned that I have this strength, woo, that helps me just win over other people. And it is something that I have learned to appropriately leverage to help forward my goals. And that's something too that I've felt uncomfortable with. And I've talked about this in therapy, another fantastic self-awareness tool. But
yes,
my therapist has talked about how that exercising woo on the wrong side of the coin is manipulation.
Right. Or it feels like people pleasing, which like we hear all the time as women, but for what I hear is connection, building relationships, which is what you do because you have to get trust for people to hire you to do branding. They have to trust you. So it's not, it's a positive thing. It's truly just
totally a positive thing.
It's
when I'm
building.
in my worst, it can be manipulation.
Yes.
But I know that, right?
When
so I manipulate when I want to. No, I know that, right? And so I'm conscious of making sure that my ego is in check and that I'm doing what I'm doing for the right reasons, and that has served me really well throughout my life.
And
woo.
And it ties.
I think it's my favorite strength.
I was just gonna say I wouldn't be surprised if it's number one. It ties well into empathy and communication, like.
There's lots of feelings happening here.
I was just going to say, like, it's a nice, they're all siblings in my mind because you can't communicate well if you don't have empathy for who you're working with and if you don't build that trust and that relationship with that. Like, I feel like it's the perfect blend for you because it's people, relationship, trust, and woo. Like, woo, I mean, right? Woo.
That's so
I
cute.
mean, it's a great word.
So
from a brand perspective. It feels very on
brand. It's on brand.
For you.
It's like such an on brand experience. Well, and you actually years ago, one of the first things we worked together creatively, I was doing some design work for Mint, and one of my most favorite compliments I've ever received was from you. You called me a one draft or like a one round designer.
One review designer.
One review, thank you. One review designer. And that was so flattering to me because not only were you saying like, wow, Sarah, you're really good at your job, but that's not uncommon that I can pull something out of someone and translate it visually. I hear that a lot from my clients. Like, you created what I saw in my head and I just didn't know what it looked like.
Yep.
And that, I think, is because of empathy. I can really tap into my clients. I'm feeling what you're feeling. I can't always articulate how it works, but I really just get it.
Yep.
We communicate well. I'm going to ask the right questions. I'm going to probe when I need to. I'm going to let it go when I don't. And I can actively, as a part of wooing, I'm really getting to know who you are, what makes you tick, what works. And so I've never thought of those strengths as serving me as well as it has in specifically what I do, but it's so clear, this path that I've been on to get me to where I am. Like, I really feel like I'm doing the perfect job for me.
Well, there you go. The assessment is validation. Or if you're in a place where like, am I in the right business? Like, look at your strengths and does it match the work that you're doing or the business that you're building? Like, and there you go. There's a perfect use case. That's because as a designer, you're not projecting your point of view. You're like, I have a point of view in collaboration with you. And that's the woo. Like, I think that's a really good skill set.
Thank you. How about yours? What are yours?
My top three, and I think this is the order. My number one is competition.
I can totally see that.
Competition.
That has served you well. You're young. You've been successful in a corporate setting. You've been successful in your businesses.
This is so fun. This is like you and me complimenting each other.
Every episode should be like this. Every episode should just be Jordan and I lifting each other up. You guys, that's what we're here for.
Competition, and I think that's like always been competitive. Big family. Once I realized sales isn't a gross word. If you love what you do and you're good at what you do, like,
you're very good at sales.
I want to win. Like, I want to get, and even for my clients, I'm like, you're going to be the best at what you do.
Yeah.
I'm going to do everything in my power to help you. I also danced. So like, there's
same.
Yeah. We danced. Competition, responsibility is my second one. Okay. So I feel this immense responsibility to show up and deliver for my clients, and
Interesting.
I'm never going to drop the ball.
I agree.
Like, I show up and I deliver. It doesn't matter if I get 2 hours of sleep, which we know is not possible for me. I'm always going to get a good night's sleep. But like, I'm going to show up and be there. And if for some reason something isn't working, I'm going to take responsibility for it. Yep. Always.
You are very accountable to your participation in a circumstance.
Yes. And I feel like that's really important to me. Yep. And then the last one is futuristic, which I'm a planner, total planner. I love thinking ahead to the future. Probably why I have anxiety, severe anxiety. I'm in therapy for it, and I also
therapy.
Yeah, highly recommend it. But yeah, I'm dreamy. I dream big, and I think that's probably where you and I get along. Is like,
I'm also futuristic.
Yes, that's in your top 5.
That's in my top 5.
That? Like, I love to think big and think beyond the work that I'm doing, but then I also like am balanced with the responsibility to focus on what I'm doing in the present.
Right.
And then I'm still kind of fighting every day in the competition piece. It's a weird blend.
This is an interesting dynamic. I feel like mine are very quite complementary, and yours are very dynamic.
Yeah, when I did the full strengths finders, I had my top 5 were in one in every category.
Oh,
so there's different categories. So like,
and I think I'm all in one category.
I think you're all in the communication bucket. There's like 5 different categories.
I'm all in the like touchy-feely.
There's so much research behind. Like again, it's such an in-depth.
It's fascinating. It's really fascinating.
You can read, like, there are chapters basically in every
it's a whole book.
But I fall in every category. So I feel like I'm kind of like this even playing field where like I can tap into things, but it sounds like my strength is like selling, helping women sell, helping them make sure that they're appropriately pricing their work. Like, it's just so important to me that like women feel like they're winning, whatever that looks like. That's really important to me, and that I say what I'm going to do and do what I'm going to say. Like, execution is so important to me, and high quality work, and like that's the responsibility piece.
So then this is something like, for me, it's really clear what I'm really great at, and obviously Strengths Finders doesn't necessarily define what we're not so great at, but this helps us understand the things that we should continue doing. You should continue being very the face of selling directly to your clients. I need to have a lot of communication with my clients to ensure that we're on the right path. I can set the tone for my team of what we're going to execute. So what about some indicators or some ideas that help us decide like what we offload? Because the concept of returning is we don't need to do it all, and self-awareness is a piece to get us there. So what else can we, like, how has that served you, knowing your strengths, helped you decide like what to offload?
So in the Strengths Finders, it's like you're going to have a bottom list. So like the things that you did not perform
because they
well.
rank all of it.
Yeah, so like look at your bottom list.
Yeah.
And anything that involved, I actually think strategic planning was also in my top 5 too. So anything that involved, so it's not that I'm not a creative person. I love being creative. I love the creative ideation. But there were things around creativity, things that I need to offload. So like I will try and hire a designer anytime I can. I can't remember what the other ones were. Oh, empathy wasn't really. I'm also an Enneagram 8, and we tend to empathy tends to be something we struggle with, which is surprising because I know you're an 8. You're probably a healthier 8 if you have more empathy.
Yeah, that's the cool thing about it. Talks about when you're healthy and when you're unhealthy.
So to me, what it says is I am very much like, I have a way that I work. I like to work my way, and I don't want to have to like coach and mentor people, and I don't mind doing that, but it's not my strength. Like if I were to hire a team, I would hire a phenomenal people leader, someone who's a good manager, who's inspiring,
that can do some of that,
the team. So like the people leading, I don't want to like undersell that I can't lead, but I don't love it. I want to have people that can run on their own, that don't need hand holding, again, there's nothing like people leaders are hard to find, but I don't want to lead a team. That's not for me. I want to run my own show, have a couple people underneath me, but that can do their shit. And I don't have to.
You need all like C-level people.
And
whether they are or not.
Because empathy is a big thing. And like I get frustrated where I'm like, why aren't you doing it my way?
And
I know that's a flaw of mine where it's like, wait, you don't understand the thing that I designed and how I designed it. And I say design like a spreadsheet or a plan that I've built them. So it's a skill that I know that I can be better at, but I know I'm not going to be somebody that has 100 people underneath me.
And you know how to mitigate, and that's the key. You know, that's what the self-awareness brings. Jordan knows what she's going to be great at and the pieces that she's missing. And instead of beating herself up over it or like investing in trying to make it better, you've decided like, hey, I'm just going to soar with what I'm great at. And I know here's a gap I need to fill for what's not so great.
And what's a good use of my time? For me, sales. It's like I need to be running contracts, making sure I get those contracts. And like, I just recently also outsourced a writer because it's like, I love to write and I enjoy it, but like, I don't have the space or time to do it. So I need to hire somebody who's like creatively energizing that can take my ideas, which I'll have, but then execute it for me. And then all I'm doing is editing it, which is great. Cause it's like, I'd love to just write all day, but I can't. I need to make sure that I'm bringing in more business and making sure I can pay her to help me write the ideas.
I think the other benefit of being what I think you should be is hyper self-aware. I think you should be very, very self-aware around what you're great at and what you're not so great at, and be very comfortable and okay with the things you're not great at, and speak really confidently about the things you are great at.
Yes, what you're going to do, what you're not going to do.
Right, be really proud of the things that you're great at. That's only going to serve you just beautifully as you're building your business. But I think that understanding and accepting that doing it all is probably not going to serve you well in your business. What things do you love to do? What things do you not, like what don't you love to do? Offload that stuff and save yourself the mind space, the energy, the capacity to show up where you soar, where you're really great at. You're going to have more fun in your business. Now, there might be things that you like to do that you're not good at.
There's a matrix where it's like things that, and I bet you we can find it. There's a matrix where it's like things that you're good at, that have high impact, things that you're not good at, low impact. Like there's a matrix of it you should probably map out.
But most people I know, like, as I speak to myself, if I'm not good at something, I do not like doing it. There's nothing that I'm bad at that I enjoy doing that I know of. Maybe I'm not as aware as I think. But I think that's really rare. That somebody really loves to do something and they're just shitty at it. Unless they don't know that they're shitty at it.
Yeah, that's
bad. We're talking about self-awareness, right? We're talking about self-awareness.
Right.
So let's set the precedence that we're practicing our self-awareness.
That we're aware that we're not good at something and we just don't do it. And then you hire it
out. Or don't do it professionally.
Correct. Yeah, I think you can't do everything. It's not sustainable for your business.
And you shouldn't. And I know people that try to do everything, and you know what? It's like an egotistical pride thing.
You can't chase trends just because
they just love to say they did it all, and like, why? You're not going to get very far.
Yes.
And it's going to be so damn hard to do.
And it's not
scalable. Offload that shit.
Yes.
It's not scalable.
It's not scalable. And if you want to scale, that's a whole different conversation. But like we talked about boundaries, you can't have boundaries if you're doing everything all the time. And then you attract clients who understand what you're good at. They're not going to expect you to be everything all the time. To them, women have something else we can return, this facade of wanting everything and having everything all the time. Like Michelle Wolf, the comedian, says, like, we don't have to have everything all the time. It's like going to an all-you-can-eat buffet. You're not going to eat everything. You will be sick.
Yeah.
Like, you're going to pick the things that you want and be okay with it. You're not going to have the crab cakes.
Right.
That's next time you come.
That's next time, right? You can have it all, but not all at the same time.
Yes. Okay, what have you delegated? What was something you're like, not good at, I'm going to hire this out?
The first thing I took off my plate was reconciling my books.
Oh, hell yeah. Know what it means, but then delegate.
I categorize everything. I know what those numbers look like. But when it comes to actually executing the reconciliation and making sure the month is closed out and the quarter's closed out and the year's closed out, I took courses, I watched videos, and I just was like, this is not what makes you money.
Yes.
I think that's the other thing about delegation that's so important. Be really aware about what you're good at and what makes you money.
Yes.
Get rid of the shit that's not making you money. Those non-money making activities, somebody else can do, and you can pay them less than what you could charge for what is making you money.
Time is money.
Time is money. Don't waste that time. And so for a very small amount of money every month, I have somebody that comes in and reconciles my books. And they come in quarterly to make sure everything is copacetic and it looks how it's supposed to look.
You don't get audited by the IRS.
Hours and hours. Please. It just saves me hours of my time that I can then invest in, especially as a creative, hourly focus. I need space. My ability to show up for a client isn't necessarily, I need 60 minutes here or 90 minutes there. There are days when I can deliver in 20 minutes because I have this creative freedom. It's flowing. It feels really good. There are days that it really takes me a long time because I'm not feeling that creative freedom. So if I can offload anything that helps me maintain creative freedom, that's a win. So I got rid of bookkeeping straight away. And then I think my favorite thing that has really helped me is I'm not in charge of my inbox or my calendar.
That's nice.
And it's because I get anxious about it. I don't want to open it up in the morning. I'm not an organized person. I need help.
You're not organized?
You should see my room. I'm just not naturally organized. If somebody builds a system for me, I will follow it. I had a girlfriend come in and organize my closet when I was 20-something years old, and it's ridiculous what she had to teach me how to do because it's very organize it by tops and bottoms, and then go by colors and have all your hangers face the same way. I never would have come up with that.
Yeah.
But now all of my hangers match. They're always the same direction. I just follow the rules.
Yes.
Just tell me what to do and I'll do it. So offboarding some of those initial kind of admin structure tasks, I needed somebody to build a system for me. And once it's been built, I will follow the rules. I will do the things. So like organizing my inbox, somebody else set up all of my folders. Yep. I didn't even know. I don't get like on a spreadsheet. I'm like, is that the columns or the rows that I should? Right. I just can't see it. And that's okay. Like it's a little embarrassing, but that's okay. I color
not.
for a living.
I mean, I color. There's no one way to do something.
There's no one way.
And I think we need to let that go. And like you're allowed to delegate the things that you're not good at, because think about it. Like we have a certain dollar amount we want to pay ourselves.
Yes.
Every year. And if we
talked about that in another episode.
And if you go backwards, sometimes even think about how much are you worth an hour? Do I want to spend $2,000 of my time doing this?
Organizing email folders?
Or do I want to hire somebody for $500 a month or whatever the number is? Like sometimes I get really numbers driven because it's so clear to me where I'm like, oh yeah, duh. I'm not spending $2,000 worth of my time doing this. I'm done. And I think it's letting that go and not feeling shame around it and being okay with it. Like, I feel like I was told at a young age, I think a lot of women are told, like, oh, you're not good at math. And then I was bad at math.
Yeah.
And I decided, oh, I'm not good at math. And then I become a business owner. I'm like, oh, holy shit, I actually am good at math. And this is actually a really crucial part that, like, I can help business owners be better at math by designing this beautiful forecast, helping them figure out, like, oh, you can not be afraid of numbers.
Yeah.
And it tells you something. And you hire somebody that can help you tell that story. And then it's like creatively, content, social. I'm like, this is not a good use of my time. I need to hire somebody to do that for me.
And you do a great job specifically of that task. Like when you hand me a spreadsheet, it's always branded. It is always.
Because I know my audience.
You know your audience. And you're like, Sarah will not look at this. And Sarah's not going to absorb this. Same with Tiff on my team. She will put our brand colors everywhere, and I'm like, oh, thank God. I can spend time looking at this,
clients
and I
are less
get
afraid of it. I know my clients that are like, oh, this spreadsheet is telling me I can afford to hire this person. Oh my God, this staff member gets a bonus. I get to pay myself more money. Or like, I operationally need this system, which means I save 5 hours of my day, which means X, Y, and Z. Like,
it makes it all easier to decide what to offload.
Absolutely.
How to react.
And that is why people hire me for consulting, is I love a mess because I love to clean up and I love to organize. So I get hired to clean operational messes, marketing messes, and people are like, oh, it's so bad. I'm like, perfect.
You're like, here we go.
Clean up on aisle 5, babe. Like, I am like coming in with my mop because I know I'm good at that.
Right.
And I like ambiguity. I like a mess. I don't need to come in and have a perfectly beautiful process. That's why I didn't like corporate America. I was like, oh, this isn't messy enough for me to clean up.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's kind of counterintuitive.
You want to build.
Yes, I want to build and leave things better than I found it.
And isn't that so empowering now that you know that? You know exactly how to message. You know how to talk to your client. You know how to target. You know how to sell, all because you have the self-awareness around what you love to do and what you want to do.
Absolutely. And like, so there's the Strengths Finders, which is what we talked about the most, which I think is like your foundation.
I agree. That's a good starting point.
You hear about the Enneagram, which is really fun, similar. It's been around for a long time.
I think that's also very reputable.
Yes.
Oddly enough, we're both 8s.
Yes.
Which is really interesting how that manifests in each of us.
Yes, we show up differently. We challenge. Basically, challengers go in, they're like 80% ready, and then they go.
Yeah.
They're not perfect. They challenge old ideas. Literally, the refund is challenging and returning old ideas.
Exactly.
Enneagram is great. Super fun to do. It's like $12. Highly recommend. That's a good team activity.
Let's talk about the brand archetype quiz.
Yes, can we do that?
The brand archetype quiz. Brand archetype is something that we have all of our clients go through. I love it. We talk a lot about, especially with service-based business providers or founders who are still very heavily involved in their business.
Yep.
You need to know who you are. You need to know who your client is, and then you also need to know who's your brand. Me as a brand, I don't show up 100% of all of my Sarah Schultz pieces. There are pieces of me that show up under the brand name, Hey Sarah Schultz, right? And so the brand archetype quiz can really help you structure and figure out what is and who is my brand itself. So my brand is the creator. What I love about that is I get to play. Totally. It's so fitting. But I get to play. I get to take risks. I get to follow trends. I get to set trends. My audience loves that about me. that sometimes inconsistency feels consistent to my audience, which is great because I get this freedom and flexibility to play and express, and my dream audience loves that. Jordan is a rebel.
Oh, yeah.
Jordan's brand archetype is going to challenge the norms, is going to fight back, is going to throw caution to the wind, and you're also going to push boundaries, test shit, see what works. And if it doesn't work, you're like, whatever, I'm just going to keep trying.
Yes. Love.
And you're going to challenge.
Yes. Going to change, just not blow shit up, but it's like, look at things differently.
Yes.
Say, this is not the status quo.
Just because it's been this way does not mean it always has to be this way.
Which I love. I love that, like, you're a creator and, like, I'm a builder. So it's like, you're creating the materials and designing them. And it's like, I have the materials and now I'm building them.
Yeah.
Like, I love that they're actionable archetypes, and you can see it when creator, rebel, like I can see what that branding is.
Totally.
It's very, very clear.
We are currently building out a ton of resources all around brand archetypes on heysarahschultz.com, and we're actually also building a fun quiz. We haven't even talked about this yet.
Oh, fun.
We're building a really fun quiz to more on the playful side to help you figure out what your core desire is. And then from there, you can learn a little bit more about your brand archetype.
Smart.
But I think those are just great resources to help with that awareness around your business specifically and your big B brand.
Yeah, I love it. Okay, so we'll take the brand archetype quiz, which I know what mine is, but maybe I'll take it again for Mend, because I'd love to see what Mend is.
I think that's a really good point. Your brand, you have to kind of put your brand hat on. Like, what do I want my brand to be?
Yes.
And then answer those questions when it comes to the brand.
Yeah, I'd love to validate my brand archetype with Mend, because I feel like the Rebel one is good for me in JDP Consult. That is very fitting. Mend I want to do. Also, other assessments people can take. We've got Strengths Finder.
Let's go a little more woo. Let's go a little more woo-woo.
Oh, Zodiac? Yeah.
Let's do, I think knowing your sun, your moon, your rising, that's really to have your birth chart read. Let's include Yoga Magic Podcast.
I was just going to say,
and Ashley Sondergaard.
She's fantastic.
Incredible resources all around your birth chart. She can help you read. We should definitely have her
She would be so fun.
It's a really fun, again, another telling resource, and it's playful, right? There's a playful angle to it. Not everyone likes astrology, but I think that one's really magical.
I mean, we're
and quite
opposite
fun.
signs. You're a Libra, and Libras are harmonious. They love being around people. They really want everybody to, like, get along and have fun. Like, that's you. Yeah, balance. You're total balance. Are you air or water?
Air.
Air, yep. I'm an Aries. I'm your opposite sign. I'm
but
fire.
I think my moon and rising, I think they're both Pisces.
Wow. Yeah, that makes a ton of sense from, like, your fluidity and
Doesn't this feel good?
Yeah. You're total. We've got blue on.
Yeah.
100%.
I love water.
I'm your opposite sign. So we're actually really compatible. My husband's a Libra. I'm a fire sign. I'm independent. It's like go. That
is rebel through and through.
Yeah, and then my rising is a Leo, so that's double fire.
Yeah,
light
lots
it up.
of raw.
Gemini is like
burn it down.
Yes, I love storytelling, and like it's so fun. It's fun. It's more of the fun,
but it's telling.
Yes,
I think the other woo one. Human design.
Yes. Who
Human
does
design.
that? We know
Kelsey Erickson.
She would be a good one to link to. She's great.
Human design is a really
cool,
fascinating. That is like as inexplicable as it comes. I can't even.
That one blew my mind. We were manifestors.
Yes.
Which is incredible.
Are you a non-specific manifester? I'm a non-specific manifester, which is crazy once I learned language around that because it's something I had experienced my whole life. I can casually think about something. I used to write this down because it weirded me out so much before I knew what it was like a decade ago.
Yeah.
I would think about something and then it would just happen. It would come into my life. I would get the thing, like whatever it was, and I would write it down like,
magic.
Oh my God, yesterday I thought this and today I got it. And it was just, it's very bizarre. We talked earlier about like legitimacy and heavy research. I don't know how this system was structured.
But like that is
it is magical as fuck.
But that is the range of assessments. You have like research driven, and then you have this like more like woo, because I'm a manifestor, but I'm a visualer, like design it, write it, think it,
you have to really think about it.
Yes, I like think it, believe it, dream it, and then it comes alive.
I'm just like, it's a flighty thought that just floats through, and then all of a sudden it's there. And I'm like,
super intentional. I like look at it, think about it, but that's just different like those are different types. And I'm like writing a check. But anyways, I feel like point is, they're not going to tell you who you are. You have to translate it.
You have to translate it. And put in some of that work of figuring out what it means.
And have then people in your life do it and talk about it and say, what am I good at? What am I bad at? And be open.
Be open.
And it's super fun. And once you have the self-awareness, like you're going to get into this lane of like, oh, I'm going to like fly. Yeah. Because I'm not in everybody else's lane. I'm just in my
in my shit. Okay, so our 3 key takeaways. Find at least one assessment that resonates with you.
We'll list them.
And take it and learn from it.
Don't judge it. Just be open.
Don't judge. Thank you for saying that. Don't judge it.
It's okay if you're not good, if you don't have empathy. Work on empathy.
It's fine. So don't judge it. I like that. So take an assessment. 2, then be actively practice.
Yes. How can you implement this into your life and your business?
Actually implement it. And then delegate and offload the other shit.
Yes.
Whether it's the stuff that you're not good at or the stuff you don't like. Get it off your plate.
Yes.
Because you can run a successful business without doing it all. It's
Correct.
so important for sustainability and growth.
You don't want to eat everything at the buffet.
No, God. No one likes that.
No. Okay, so you'll find all the assessments linked below. Follow us on Instagram.
Yep.
Ooh, tell us what you are.
Love that.
Depending on what you take, tell us your strengths. I'd love to know your zodiac sign. Give me the trio if you did it. I'd love to know what people are, what their Enneagram is. Just send us all.
Let us know.
It would be super fun.
Subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can find us on all of the podcast platforms where you love to listen. And let's have a conversation.
Cool.
I love it.
Go team.
Okay, again, you guys know them well. I'm wearing Little Words Project today. Trackable. You can pay them forward when you're done with your word. We're going to go customize a couple here in just a little bit. I'm super excited about my little stack here.
Cuties.
And then I also have on Jack and Violet earrings, a local Minneapolis-based artist and designer. She's just fantastic.
All
Andrea,
one of a kind.
All one of a kind. She does limited release
based on women
collections. Yes. All based on women.
It's so cool.
Frida Kahlo collection.
She did a Brene Brown collection.
It's so
a Lizzo collection.
Oprah has a collection.
Amazing.
Meghan Markle has a collection. So these are all really lightweight polymer clay,
super
handmade.
pretty.
She does all the color mixing right in house in her little studio.
She's good people.
And makes fun statement earrings.
Yes, and then I have my Ment hoops on. You can buy them solo, or you can put custom crystals on them.
I have a quick question about those. You can then just take the crystals off too, so that multi-purpose.
Yes, you can design them, and you can really wear them however you want.
Very cool. And you have another little baby one over here?
Oh yeah, and this little guy, these are new. I have little hoops with little sphere gems in them, and you can buy them, and I'm obsessed with these.
I gotta go get more holes in my ears. You are just inspiring me to zhuzh my ears up some more. I already have 5 holes in my ears, but I'm gonna need more.
Yeah, one more. I think that's everybody though. More. I think we've got all the women-owned businesses. Support them, and we'll link them all. Not sponsored, we just love them.
Hashtag not sponsored.
Love them.
Hashtag just love.
Just love.
Cute.
Cute. Okay.
I'm out.